Go.
Okay, so you ordered your skin. It's now come in the mail, and you're going to open your box up, and you're going to take your skin out. It's going to be rolled up, so you're going to want to lay it flat and come to room temperature, and you want to lay it down so that there's no more curls on it. It applies a lot easier. In your box, you're going to get a knife, squeegee with a felt edge, and an isopropanol swab. So what you're going to do is take your board, take your bindings off, and then you're going to give it a good clean with just Windex. You're going to take as much grime, the big stuff out of this, wipe it down with a towel, get it so it's as clean as you can possibly get it with the Windex. And then we're going to do the final cleaning with this alcohol swab. So, let's open it up. These are extra big swabs. And we're just going to go around the board, paying particular attention to the edges, because that's where most failures are going to happen, is on the edge. Pretty good. If you've got nicks and notches in your board, you really want to make sure you get all the grime out of those, because that's where we're going to have failures. So we're just making sure they're nice and clean. This is a very old board. It's been badly abused, but it's a good way to show you that this works really well to refresh a board. So now I'm going to take my skin, just put it on top. Ideally, you're not doing this on the floor. You're going to be doing this on a coffee table or the dining room table. And we're just going to start positioning it. I just use my fingers, and I kind of feel, okay, that's where I want that. Fingers here, horizontally. If you want, you can get out the ruler and you can measure. But you can kind of see I'm pushing down, and I'm making an indentation, and I can see the edge of the board.
So look at there. A couple more adjustments.
Now, some designs you're going to really have to worry about where your binding holes are, but you can feel them under there. So if there was text or something like that, you just would want to position it so you're not going to be putting your bindings over something that's cool. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. Now, the one thing we don't include in the kit is masking tape. Any type of tape will work. If it's thinner 1-inch tape, you'll just want to do maybe 2 swipes with it. So well onto the table. This is going to be called the hinge method, because right now I'm basically creating a hinge. So that's in, make sure it's secure. If you really wanted to, you could put 2 pieces of tape on the bottom of the board to secure it to the table, but it's not really necessary. So I'm going to take this and peel it back now. So I'm going to run this back, and I'm going to take the backing paper off and gently bring this all the way up to the front, making this come up to my hinge. Then you're going to take your knife and lightly score this. You want to pretty much not go through the paper because you don't want to wreck your gel coat. And then it should just release like that. Now I've got a nice straight edge. Now this is where the trick comes in. So the squeegee's got a felt edge so you don't scratch up your laminate. When we're going to be squeegeeing, we're not going to be just doing this. We're going to be coming at an angle, half up, half down, but I'm turning it when I'm going this way. When I'm coming down this way, I'm turning it this way. The reason we're doing that is we want to make sure the air is escaping this way and not back into our print and then creating air bubbles. So squeegee up, turn, squeegee down, up, down. And that will just push all the air through the board. This material is very special material. It is almost impossible to trap an air bubble, and I'll show you why that is. So, lift it up. You could have someone help you. So you'd have someone on this end, and you're just kind of holding it here. And what I'm looking at is this edge. So my squeegee here, up, turn, down, up, down. Overlapping strokes, about half a squeegee. Just watching that I'm not getting wrinkles. Take your time. And when you get to the end, because this material is almost impossible to trap an air bubble, you can just go like that. So now it's on. Now I can remove my hinge because this is already stuck. So off that comes. And repeat the process. This side, a lot of people find harder because you have to squeegee with your left hand. So you may want some help on this side. So up. Do not let it touch the board. And again, up, down, up. Always keeping that angle to push the air out from under the skin. Now I'm gonna purposely trap a bubble in here. So I'm turning my squeegee and I did trap a bubble. We'll come back and deal with that. Actually, I'm gonna trap another one in here. So to trap one, I'm just gonna turn my squeegee. It's actually difficult to even trap one. There we go. Can you pick that up? Can you see those bubbles?
Yeah.
So you can see 2 bubbles. The adhesive on this material is very special and it allows me to grab this and I can just work this bubble out. See how it just disappeared? Here's another one. Just gonna use my finger and away it goes. Here's another one on the edge. Just use my finger and it comes out. So I'm just gonna go through now. There's another one. I purposely trap these. It's actually, like I said, very hard to do it. There's some more. So now I'm just coming back and I'm pressing, pressing down all the vinyl. Paying particular attention to the edges, especially where there's nicks. So I'm just kind of going through and I'm looking at the reflection from the lights. Looking for bubbles. Now around your bindings, you're always going to have indentations. That's actually an indentation in the gel coat of the snowboard. And that's fine. It's going to get covered by the binding anyway. So okay, so now I think I've got all the bubbles out of it. The last thing I'm going to do, especially because this is an older board, is I've got a lot of nicks and cuts in this board. So I'm going to take my finger and I'm really going to push it into these nicks and cuts and try to get a seal, particularly on this end here. I know there's a bad one right here. You can see it. Now it's come up. Now you can really see that nick in there. So I pushed it down. Here's another one. So I can get a seal with the skin. So just going along, pushing everything in. So what'll end up happening is you would always try to run your board with the full skin in these indentations. The worst thing that can happen is there is a failure, and what you would do is just notch it back so you can get back to a good seal. We'll show you that after we do the trim. So this is probably what most people have the difficulty with, is trimming. This is how I do it. Some people will use an X-Acto knife. I find this the easiest way. So we sent you these knives for a particular reason. You extend the blade all the way out, put the board off the edge of the table, and you start at one end. You're going to come in, you start just outside the board, and I'm going to come in. Now before I get going, I'm going to chop this. So I've got a tail. This is what's important, is having this tail. I am pulling away as I'm going, and I'm letting this blade go about halfway through, but I'm letting the blade do the work. This nice wide blade will run against the edge of your board and give you a really nice smooth edge. So here we go. So because I stopped there, we're just going to start again. So oh yeah, here we go. Really important to keep this angle of your tail kind of up and away. Go as far as you can. Trim that off. I'm going to flip the board over.
Okay.
Okay, so from this side, we've already done our first cut. We're going to start here again. So I'm holding this tail, and I'm making sure that with this hand, kind of pulling up and away. And you see how that blade is sitting? So now my vinyl's starting to droop here, so I gotta make sure it's up and away. I'm going to come back. Now you can see little areas here where, I'm not really happy with that. It's maybe it was positioning of my hand, it didn't come out nice. So I'm just going to get the vinyl to stand up. What's happened is it's come down the side of the board, probably from when I was pushing everything down. So I'm just going to give it a new edge. Actually, that was started because there's a nick in the board. So yeah, push it all down. This is just cosmetic, And just kind of go through the board. Make sure all your edges are pushed down now. And then all it's left to do is to cut out your binding holes. So most people are going to elect to only cut out the holes that they need. So I can see actually where my binding is, and I'm gonna guess that I'm gonna need these 2 holes. So pretty simple, just stick the tip of the blade in there, and out she comes. And that's how to install a snowboard. So after it's installed, you need to let this sit for 24 hours. What ends up happening is the adhesive becomes malleable and it attaches itself to the gel coat. You take it out before that, there's a chance you might have a failure. If in the event that you nick up the board, let's say you get a really bad hit, what you're going to do, actually let's take this one for example here. I've got a really bad one here. So I know this is going to fail. I'm going to prevent that right now, and I'm going to just come out to where the gel coat is good. And just take that out. Now I know I've got a good edge seal here. Whereas if it's inside the nick, because there's no gel coat, it's going to be tough for it to seal, and you may get water and moisture under there, and it might start to work its way through the board and your skin will fail. So that's all there is to it. This should last 2 to 3 seasons, and then you're ready for a new skin and new design anyway. If you have any other questions, you can get a hold of us at orders@stokeskins.com.